The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Beverly Hills as Terry Crews Parallel parked his understated Honda Accord outside Tiffany & Cosin on Rodeo Drive. Despite his success and fame, Terry had always preferred practical cars, a habit that both amused and endeared him to his wife Patricia. Today marked their 25th wedding anniversary, and he wanted to surprise her with something truly special. Terry sat in his car for a moment, running his fingers over the small velvet box in his jacket pocket, Patricia's original engagement ring from 1999, which he planned to have reset into a new design. Back then, he'd been a struggling artist working security jobs to make ends meet, and the modest ring was all he could afford. Now, with their relationship stronger than ever, he wanted to honor both their humble beginnings and how far they'd come together. The afternoon traffic hummed along Rodeo Drive as well-dressed shoppers moved between the luxury boutiques. Terry smiled, remembering how intimidated he'd felt walking down this same street 25 years ago, dreaming of a day when he could afford to shop here for the woman he loved. As he approached the iconic Tiffany storefront with its distinctive blue facade, Terry felt a familiar flutter of excitement. Patricia had mentioned admiring a particular necklace design she'd seen in a magazine, and he had a photo of it saved on his phone. Combined with resetting her original ring, it would be the perfect anniversary surprise. The security guard at the entrance, a young man in his 20s, looked up as Terry approached. His expression shifted slightly, taking in Terry's casual attire, dark jeans, a simple gray sweater, and worn sneakers. Nothing about Terry's appearance screamed celebrity or big spender, which was exactly how he preferred it. "Excuse me, sir," the guard said, stepping forward. "Are you here for a specific appointment?" Terry paused, surprised by the question. "No, I was just hoping to browse some pieces. I'm looking for an anniversary gift." The guard's expression remained neutral but firm. "I'm sorry, but we require appointments for walk-in customers today. We're quite busy with our scheduled clients." Terry glanced through the glass doors into the store. He could see perhaps 4 or 5 customers inside, with several sales associates standing idle near the jewelry cases. The store hardly looked overwhelmed. "I understand you're busy," Terry said politely, "but I only need a few minutes. I have a specific piece in mind, and I also wanted to discuss resetting an existing ring." The security guard shook his head. "Store policy, sir. You'll need to call ahead and schedule an appointment. We have availability next week." Terry felt a familiar tightness in his chest, the recognition of a situation he'd hoped to avoid but had experienced too many times before. "Next week? Today is my anniversary. Could you possibly check with a manager?" "Sir, I've explained the policy. If you'd like to make an appointment, there's a phone number on our website." The guard's tone had grown slightly more dismissive, and Terry noticed how other customers were walking past him into the store without being stopped. Behind the guard, through the glass doors, Terry could see an older woman in an elegant suit, presumably a manager, greeting a young couple warmly. No mention of appointments, no requests for identification, just a warm welcome and immediate attention. Terry took a deep breath, drawing on the patience and emotional regulation he'd learned through years of therapy and personal growth. Getting angry wouldn't help the situation, and it certainly wouldn't honor the love he was trying to celebrate. "Listen," Terry said, keeping his voice calm and friendly. "I understand you have policies, but I'm a serious customer looking to make a significant purchase. Could you at least ask your manager if there's any flexibility?" The security guard crossed his arms. "Sir, I need to ask you to step aside. You're blocking the entrance for our other customers." As if on cue, a middle-aged man in an expensive suit approached the door. The guard immediately smiled and opened it for him. "Good afternoon, Mr. Peterson. Ms. Williams is ready for you." Terry watched the interaction, the contrast stark and undeniable. He stepped aside, pulling out his phone to show the guard the photo of the necklace Patricia had admired. "Look, I even have a picture of what I'm looking for. It'll take 5 minutes." The guard barely glanced at the phone. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises if you continue to cause a disturbance." "A disturbance?" Terry's voice, remained controlled, but there was an edge to it now. "I'm standing here politely asking to shop in your store. How is that disturbing anyone?" "Security protocols, sir. If you're not willing to follow our appointment system, then this probably isn't the right store for you." The words hit Terry like a physical blow. He'd heard variations of this his entire life, from teachers who assumed he wasn't college material, from casting directors who saw only his size and not his talent, from store clerks who followed him around assuming he was there to steal rather than buy. At that moment, an elderly couple approached the entrance. The guard's demeanor changed instantly, becoming warm and welcoming. "Good afternoon. Welcome to Tiffany & Co. How can we help you today?" "We're looking for wedding rings for our granddaughter," the woman said with a smile. "Wonderful. Right this way. Sarah will be happy to show you our bridal collection." Terry watched as they were ushered inside without a single question about appointments or policies. He stood there for a moment, feeling the familiar combination of hurt, frustration, and disappointment that came with being judged before being known. He thought about Patricia, probably at home preparing for their anniversary dinner, trusting that he would find something beautiful to mark their 25 years together. He thought about their journey, from that tiny apartment in Flint, Michigan, where they'd started their life together, to the success they'd built through mutual support and unwavering love. Terry pulled out his phone and looked at Patricia's contact information. He could call her, tell her about the situation, and they could laugh about it later. Or he could try one more approach. "Excuse me," Terry said to the security guard, who was now scrolling through his phone. "I'd like to speak with your manager, please." The guard looked up with obvious irritation. "Sir, I thought I made it clear." "You did, and I'm making it clear that I'd like to speak with your manager about your appointment policy and how it's being applied." Something in Terry's tone must have registered because the guard hesitated. Through the glass doors, Terry could see the manager, a polished woman in her 50s, consulting with a sales associate. "Fine," the guard said reluctantly. "Wait here." Terry watched as the guard entered the store and approached the manager. He could see them talking, the guard gesturing toward the entrance, the manager glancing in his direction with a slight frown. After a few minutes, the manager approached the door. Her name tag read, Victoria Hendricks, store manager. "Good afternoon," she said, her tone professionally neutral. "I understand you'd like to discuss our appointment policy." "I would," Terry replied. "I'm here to shop for my 25th wedding anniversary. I have a specific piece in mind, and I'd also like to discuss custom work. Your security guard has told me that I need an appointment, but I've watched several other customers enter without being asked about appointments." Victoria's expression didn't change. "We do require appointments for certain services, particularly custom work and high-value purchases. It ensures we can provide the proper attention to our serious customers." "And what makes you think I'm not a serious customer?" The question hung in the air between them. Victoria glanced at Terry's casual attire, then back at his face. "Sir, our clientele typically, well, they understand our expectations. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at one of the department stores nearby. They have some lovely jewelry at more accessible price points." Terry felt something inside him break, not from anger, but from the crushing disappointment of being reduced to an assumption, a stereotype, a problem to be managed rather than a customer to be served. "More accessible price points," he repeated, quietly. "And what price point do you think is accessible to me?" Victoria shifted uncomfortably. "I simply meant that we cater to a very specific market segment. Our pieces start at several $1,000s. "I see." Terry reached into his jacket and pulled out the small velvet box containing Patricia's original engagement ring. "This ring has been in my family for 25 years. I wanted to have it reset into something new for our anniversary. I was also interested in purchasing a necklace to go with it. But apparently I don't look like someone who can afford several $1,000s. Victoria's eyes widened slightly as she saw the ring, clearly recognizing its quality despite its modest size. "Sir, I think there may have been a misunderstanding." "Has there been?" Terry asked. because from where I'm standing, it seems pretty clear. At that moment, a young woman exiting the store stopped short, her eyes widening in recognition. "Oh my God, you're Terry Crews," she exclaimed, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. The effect was immediate. Heads turned, phones came out, and suddenly Terry found himself surrounded by people wanting selfies. The security guard's face went pale, and Victoria looked like she wanted to disappear. "Mr. Crews," Victoria whispered, "I had no idea. Please let me personally assist you." Terry finished taking a selfie before turning back to Victoria. His expression was calm but disappointed. "Now you want to help me," he said quietly. "Not because I deserve respect as a human being, but because you recognize my face." "Mr. Crews, please, there's been a terrible misunderstanding." "Has there been?" Terry interrupted gently. 5 minutes ago, you were directing me to department stores. You were making assumptions about what I could afford. Many people were now recording. Terry was aware, but didn't ask them to stop. Teaching moments needed. Witnesses. "The problem isn't that you didn't recognize me," Terry continued. "The problem is that recognition shouldn't matter. Every person deserves basic respect, regardless of how they look." Victoria nodded frantically. "You're absolutely right. I sincerely apologize." "What changed?" Terry asked simply. "I'm the same person I was 10 minutes ago. Same money, same love for my wife. The only difference is now you know who I am." The security guard spoke up. "Mr. Crews, I'm so sorry. I didn't know," and that's exactly the point, Terry said kindly. "You made a judgment based on how I looked, not who I am." Terry addressed the crowd. "Every person deserves dignity and respect, whether they're famous or not." Victoria stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "What happened was unacceptable. I want to make it right." "Making it right isn't about special treatment now," Terry said. "It's about treating every future customer with this same respect." He looked at the ring box in his hand. "My wife and I have been married 25 years. We built our life through respect and seeing the best in each other." Terry looked directly at Victoria. "I hope when someone approaches your store next time, you'll choose to see their humanity first." "We will, Mr. Crews. I promise." As the crowd dispersed, Victoria made one final attempt. "Please, let me show you something special for your wife. No charge." Terry smiled genuinely. "Thank you, but I'll find something perfect at a small store in Pasadena. They treat customers right." He paused at the door. "Remember this conversation. Not because of who I am, but because every person deserves respect." Later that evening, Patricia admired her beautiful anniversary necklace from Benedetto Fine Jewelry, where the owner had welcomed Terry warmly. "I'm proud of how you handled it," she said, "but prouder that after 25 years you still see shopping, for me, as an adventure." Terry's Instagram post the next day went viral. 25 years ago, I couldn't afford much, but I could afford respect. Today I can afford more, but respect still shouldn't cost anything. And treat people right." Tiffany responded publicly, "We failed, and we're changing. Thank you for holding us accountable with dignity." 6 months later, Victoria sent Terry a letter about the company-wide training program inspired by their encounter, including photos of community outreach programs. "Your lesson stayed with me," she wrote. "Now I see every customer as someone's beloved family member first. Thank you for watching. If this inspired you to treat others with greater respect, please like, subscribe, and share this story. Let us know in the comments about choosing grace over judgment. Hit that notification bell for more uplifting content.